Okay, so I have been meaning to make a video for a while on my birthing experiences because I am now currently, I've had 6 children, and every single one of my experiences has been different. So tonight I'm going to be talking about my first one, and she was born back in 2012. I was married, I guess, 3.5 years before we had her. And my mother, to give a little background, she was a naturopathic doctor. So I spent most of my life in my upbringing with natural herbs, natural remedies. So whenever I got ready to have my baby, I intended on having the baby natural. So I had a midwife. She worked for a hospital that was up the street from us. So it was like, well, I want a midwife, but then, we have the hospital as a backup in case, anything goes wrong, then we'll be, at the hospital already. So all my checkups were going well, and I didn't have any issues. When we got to I guess 38 weeks, she was asking me about inducing. Actually, probably 37 weeks, she was asking me about inducing. And I was like, I don't want to induce. I just want to let her come, whenever she comes. So every week of my doctor's appointment after that, she was asking me, well, are you sure you don't want to induce? You think you might want to induce? I was like, well, no, I want to just, wait until she comes. So to make a long story short, we get to a doctor's appointment. My husband was at home because he had just gotten off work, and I was going to my doctor's appointment. I was like, I'll be back in a little while. So I went to the doctor's appointment. She asked me about inducing. I was told her again, no, I'm not interested in inducing. I'm just going to wait. At this point, I think I was at 39 weeks, maybe 39 and a half weeks. So she said, well, let me go ahead and check your blood sugar. Your blood pressure. So she went to check my blood pressure. She was like, it feels like it's a little high. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm pretty big. And so, that wasn't anything that was, super alarming for me. So she said, well, I'm going to go ahead and check the heart rate of the baby. And so she went to check the heart rate on the baby, and she said that she could not find a heartbeat. I'm like, well, she was just kicking a minute ago before I came in here. So are you sure about that? And she said she kept checking, saying she couldn't find a heartbeat. So she was like, she's going to go out, step out for a minute, and she'll be back. And when she came back, she said, I think you need to go, upstairs. We're going to have to go ahead and induce and take the baby because there might be something wrong. And I'm like, wow, things went from 0 to 1,000 immediately. So I called my husband, I called my mom, my dad. They came to the hospital. My husband came to the hospital. They wheeled me upstairs. And so the lady comes in with a whole team of doctors and nurses. It must have been about 15 people, felt like, in the room. It was so crowded. And she's like, we're going to have to induce. We're going to have to do an emergency C-section. I was like, do you want to check again? Because so I'm just, at this point, I'm just overwhelmed. I'm just in shock, crying. It's so overwhelmed at the moment that I can't even imagine, because this was so not in the plan for what we had planned to be doing. So, Daddy's already at work, baby. Daddy already went to work. So she's like, so the doctor comes in, this older lady, she's asking me, she's like, well, she was like, you need to go ahead and make a decision. What are we going to do? We need to go ahead and do something now. And so I'm still sitting there. I was like, okay, well, let me pray with my family. Let me talk to my dad. Let me talk to my husband, my mom, and then we'll make a decision on what to do, because I didn't like the pressure. It felt like we went from, I didn't want to induce. I told you I didn't want to induce. And now, since I didn't want to induce, now you're saying you can't hear a heartbeat. That's what I'm thinking. But I'm like, okay, well, you want to be safe, better safe than sorry. So I didn't want to not do something that I should have been doing something. I didn't want to do something and then be upset that I did something. So, so then the doctor was like, well, do you want to kill your baby? And I was like, what? Like, no, I don't want to kill my baby. So then my husband was like, okay, hold on a second. Y'all, can everybody leave the room for a minute? So everybody left out of the room. Um, they didn't want to leave out the room, but my husband wasn't really happy. He was like, okay, because you're like putting too much pressure on her. Give her a second so we can think, so we can pray about this, and then we'll, let y'all know something in a second. So we prayed and, we talked about it for a minute. I was like, I'm going to go ahead and do it because now they're like, they have to put me under, put me to sleep so that they can take the baby. So we went from I'm having this baby naturally, everything's going to be natural, to I'm getting like emergency cut open. This is my first child that I'm having. So, so I went ahead, did an emergency C-section. They put me to sleep, so I didn't experience anything, when it comes to labor, delivery, anything like that. When I woke up, she was here. I was extremely doped up. I was just so out of it when she came that I couldn't even really hold her. I was supposed to be nursing, and I couldn't really pull myself together. I had to get I don't know, it felt like I had too many drugs in my system or something because I couldn't barely hold my eyes open. So, moving forward, I guess maybe I don't know, my mother and we didn't like the way that played out really. Nobody really did. But my mom was like, hey, you need to pull your records to get your medical records. So I requested my medical records when I checked out of the hospital. And they said, when I started looking through my medical records, it didn't have anything in there about, the baby's heart rate being irregular or not being able to find a heartbeat or anything like that. Nothing like that was in the medical records at all. So that was extremely unsettling. I didn't like that. It felt like a setup. I still don't understand what the point of that was. I don't understand why there was like a push for me to do to get induced. I don't know why she was pushing for me to do that or what the point of that was, but we made it out alive. So that is the biggest point. My daughter and I both made it out of that alive. I had a beautiful baby girl. She was 7 pounds, 7 ounces. And, what more can you ask for but a beautiful, healthy baby? So after that, it took me a little while to recover. It was like, it takes you about 6 weeks to get yourself back together, but it probably took me about a year to like fully recover to where I wasn't like feeling pain still in the places where I got cut. They did like a bikini cut, and the one guy, there was a guy who went right before I fell asleep to go in the I was like, he felt like an angel. Right before I went in, I was so nervous. I was just crying. Like tears were falling out because I was laying on the bed and I could just feel the tears going in my ears because I was just crying. And the guy was like, you're going to be okay. He was like, everything's going to be okay. You're going to be just fine. We're going to take care of you. And when I woke up, I never saw him again. It was like right before they were putting the mask over my face for me to go to sleep, and I never saw the man again. But it was such a peaceful, he was like the only person within that medical staff that actually reassured me when I was going in there. It didn't feel like such a hostile environment to be bringing a child into the world. But that is my story. That is my first story. This is the first story, 1 out of 6, and come back for part 2.